Alright guys, I'm going to go over a couple problems and we're just going to jump right into it. So, find x minus 6 times 2x squared plus 3x minus 4. What do I do? So it's the same thing as FOIL, except for I'm going to multiply each term by what's there. So it's going to be 2x cubed plus 3x squared minus 4x, and then I'm going to multiply again the negative 6 to every single thing. So that's going to give me negative 12x squared minus 18x plus 24. Here, my first and last term, I'm not going to be able to combine anything. So it's going to be 2x cubed. The other ones I'm going to be able to combine. So I'm going to look at x squared. I have an x squared here, so that's going to give me minus 9x squared minus 22x and then last but not least is the plus 24, and that is the answer. Make sure you know how to do this for the quiz. Alright, second thing I want to make sure we go over is factoring. So we're going to go over one when the leading coefficient is not 1, meaning that there's a number in front of my x squared. So all I'm going to do here is I'm just going to list the factors of 3, I'm going to list the factors of 10. So that's the first thing. The only thing that's going to give me 3x squared is 3x times x. Next, I'm going to go through, and I always try the smaller numbers. So I'm going to try 2 and 5. Since this is a minus sign, I'm going to be subtracting. I'm going to be subtracting 2 numbers. So that means I'm going to have to get above 13, because that's my middle term. So since I need to get above 13, I'm going to pick 2 and 5. But guys, here, when we do this, I'm going to multiply 3x times the number, and I'll multiply this times the number, or whatever's there, times x. Meaning 3 times 2 is going to give me 6. That's not going to give me above 13 at all. So I'm going to put 5 here, and I'm going to put 2 there. So to check my work, I'm going to multiply 3 times 5. That's going to give me 15x, and then 2x. How do I subtract those? Do I have a negative 15 and a positive 2x? Does that give me a positive 13x? No, it's the opposite. So I need a positive 15. So the plus sign is going to go there, the minus sign is going to go there. To check your work, make sure you do this to make sure you did it correctly. Alright, the next thing. Difference of squares. This is just a kind of cool trick if you ever have x squared minus some number squared. So for example, if I had x squared minus 16, it's going to factor into a difference of squares. Difference of squares means the same number. So when I factor it, it's going to be the same number. So it's going to look like this, except for my signs are going to be different. One's going to be negative, one's going to be positive. And yes, it can get a little trickier. So if I had 4x squared minus 9, okay, now I'm saying instead of being x, it is now 2x, and then 3 and 3. One's positive, one's negative. So that's all we're doing. Difference of squares. So I'm going to pick one. I want you to do it. So pause the video right about now and do the video, or do this problem. Alright, you should have paused it, and you should have gotten this as your answer. Alright, now that you have that as your answer, you know what to do. Alright, the last thing we're going to do is difference of cubes. So I'm going to write down a rule, and then we're kind of just going to go over examples. So difference of cubes, if I have x cubed minus n cubed. The equation, how are you going to set it up? It's going to be x minus n, x squared, plus nx plus n squared. There's another one that I will go over as well. But if this is a minus sign, the minus sign is going to drop right down. If it's the opposite, meaning that if it's x squared plus n cubed, it's going to do this. So it's going to be x plus n, and then it's going to be x squared minus nx plus n squared. So once again, whatever the sign is there, it's going to tell us what's going to go in the first term. If it's a plus the first one, it goes minus plus, and then it just kind of alternates. So those are the two examples. Write down each of these equations, and then we're going to go over two examples. Alright, so I'll take x cubed minus 27. So first things first is, how do I get x cubed? Well, that's x times x times x. How do I get 27? That's 3 times 3 times 3. So all we're doing is breaking it into the equation. Since it's x minus, it's going to be x minus n x squared plus nx plus n squared. So x minus 3 x squared plus 3x plus 9. And that is my answer. Alright, we're doing that's a little bit tougher, and for the last problem, I want you to try it and see if you can get it. So 27x cubed plus 8y cubed. So pause the video. I want you to try to do it, and then watch and see if you got the answer. You should be done paused, you should have the answer written out, and you should be checking your work. So it should be 3x plus 2y. You should have 9x squared minus 6 xy plus 4y squared is your answer. So what we're saying is, if I broke that down, if I took the cube root of that, it would be 3x raised to the third plus 2y raised to the third. So to get this middle term, when I multiply x times y, I'm just multiplying 3x times 2y, and that's how I got 6xy. Questions, comments? One more, and then I promise this is the last one. So, y'all do this one, and I'm just going to write the answer. Alright, this is the problem I want you to do. 125x cubed minus 64. We'll call it y cubed as well. Alright, I want y'all to do it, and I'm just going to put the answer. So this is the answer.